5 great tips for you performers, creators, and actors out there. These precious advices that I'm giving out today, they're a part of my experience of 30+ years of working experience in front of the camera and 7+ years of working experience as a coach, helping explorers, performers, content creators, and actors to, deliver great and outstanding behavior. By all means, if you're here for the first time, kindly consider subscribing and smash that bell button to stay updated for all the videos coming up. And if you like the value proposition of this video at the end, make sure to let us know with a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below, just what you thought of this. Let me know what kind of experience you had so far, and please share this video to your community, because our mission here at the Coach MC Studio is to create a thriving community of great actors for ever better performances, truly remarkable performances. So thus said, let's jump right into it and let's see what's cooking. Make it difficult for yourself to perform. Put yourself in very hard performing circumstances, in very hard performing environments. Don't sit down and go through your lines in your cozy, comfortable, warm apartment. What happens inside the audition room sometimes is unpredictable. I just want to stress out this fact that people are taking the audition too comfortable. They're just used to it. They take it for granted. But here's the thing. If you train your brain to perform under very hard circumstances, your nerves will thicken. You will create the second skin, the second layer that will make you a little bit tougher. And this toughness is something that you need to calm down your nerves, to don't, pick up nervosity too fast, to always focus, to be ready to perform in different ways. Because if you're just training and rehearsing for yourself in this quiet space, and probably you're not even the lines out loud or not loud enough, it always stays here, right? It stays in your very comfortable private sphere. It doesn't become public. Make it public right from the start. And here's another thing. Our brain works like our muscle group sometimes. It likes to take the path of least resistance. It doesn't want to work as hard all the times. We're always going for the stuff that we know already. We're always trying to take out the stuff that we are used to because that's easier for us. But if you're rehearsing your lines, think about your muscle groups. Your muscle groups won't grow if you exercise them in the same manner all the time, with the same weight all the time. So if you rehearse your lines in the same way all the time, nothing new will come out. You will stay on the same level. Maybe it's a high level, but it's always the same. It's a plateau. And you want that hockey stick chart. You want, after that plateau, that, you want the graph to point up, not to stay the same. And in order to do that, to maximize your output, to progress, to have a sort of an evolution in your artistic behavior, you need to put yourself into very difficult performing circumstances, and you need to perform in different ways so your brain puts out new energy, so your brain puts out some new information. Try to surprise your brain so it is always focused, and you be adaptive, and you will be vivid and dynamic. You will realize, okay, something new is happening. I'm saying them slightly differently. As soon as you step out your comfort zone, you're making some great progress. In order to stay afloat, in order to stay breezy, in order to stay transparent, in order to stay vivid and alive, try to impersonate different characters that at first sight don't have anything to do with the target character that you have to audition for, but just for the sake of it, to try different approaches, to try different rhythm patterns, to try different sounds and tones, to try different colors in the way you're performing it. Just for the sake of it, go and jump into diverse situations so the whole audition remains active and not just this, controlled automatism. It's not an autopilot thing. It's a creative process. It's not that you're typing in your destination and you're driving it like a Tesla car. No, you want to take control of the whole operation and take curves and turns and sharp angles and not always straight down the road, because that is boring and average. That's what everybody's doing because it's the path of least resistance, and you want maximum output, high voltage, great electricity and tension. Make it difficult to rehearse your lines at home. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Abraham Lincoln, he once said, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours to sharpen the axe. That's what I mean by that. Sharpen the axe till perfection. Make sure the blade has no wrinkles, no bumps, no cracks. Make sure the blade is sharp like a laser. Then you go into the woods and chop down the tree. The better your instruments, the better your performance. Tip number 2. Ask very specific questions. Don't be satisfied with the surface of things. Drill as deep as you can. Dive deep. Plunge into those questions. Information it's gone with the wind in a couple of seconds. Knowledge sticks with you. The more questions you ask, the more specific you are, the clearer the picture gets. The brighter the character shines, the more believable he becomes inside of the audition room. That will enlighten your character even more and will set you apart from the competitors. The more questions you ask, the more secure you are about what you're doing, the more stable your character comes over. You are not insecure about your movements, your actions, about the things that you're saying, because you have established previously exactly what similarities and differences are. You create tension because this thing will create movement, dynamic inside of you. The target character gets closer to your heart and it will raise the volume of intensity. It will raise the voltage. Because the closer the magnets come to each other, the higher the energy volume is in between of those two magnets, in the space in between. And you are the event horizon. You are the space in between the North and the South Pole. So make it as close as possible and create as much density as you can by asking those big and specific questions. And your character will shine bright. Tip number 3. When you're reading your lines, right from the start, be gullible, be innocent, be naive, be open-minded. Don't judge, don't superimpose your social status, your political opinion, your financial background. They have to stay outside. When it's about you and the lines, it's about your heart and the fastest connection to the lines. It's like a bridge that you're creating. And it's like you're reading lines for the very first time. Don't take it for granted. Don't judge the character. Because by judging the character, you're just creating a gap between you and the imagined life, and that will just result in a technical and very artificial and very mechanical performance. You don't want that. You want your performance to be as close to the lines as possible. You want an organic transformation, an organic reaction. The distance is created by over-intellectualizing a process. Just jump and plunge right into it and be like a child. Discover them, have fun with them. The more gullible you are, the more you absorb, the more you believe what this character is doing, the easier it is to defend him. And try to be as transparent as possible in order to let the lines come close to you, like an intimate relationship. You want to hug them, you want to embrace them, and you can only do that if you approach them like a little kid. Tip number 4, sense of humor. There is Michael Shurtleff, one of the greatest casting directors of all times, the one who actually made Broadway big. In his groundbreaking book, Auditioning, which I highly recommend you to read, one of my favorite books of all times, one of my personal Bibles alongside acting and film from Michael Caine, he says in that book that the most important quality that he's looking for when he's auditioning, when he's meeting a new actor, is humor. Sense of humor is what keeps us alive. Sense of humor tells us how smart somebody is. Because sense of humor doesn't mean that you're funny or telling jokes or doing slapstick moves. Sense of humor tells us, why are you still alive as a human being? Because everything around us is crumbling down. Like the world is in a never-ending crisis. It's a cycle of never-ending problems. I mean, what's going on? The world is at stake here. Why we're still here? Because we love life. And why do we love life? Because we have a sense of humor. Because we have a healthy distance. And that healthy distance to life and all the events that is created by our irony, by our sarcasm. Because we can deal with things, with events, with whatever happens around us and with us, because we have that sense of humor. And that is one of the most important qualities our characters can have that we love to impersonate for our next big upcoming audition. There is a missing link that transforms everything into a vivid, believable, genuine, and real persona. So spot the sense of humor of your character, build it. If you're cynical, if you use sarcasm and irony, that is the ingredient. It spices up your speech, your lines. Otherwise, everything is blunt and bland and just flat and two-dimensional. Sense of humor adds perspective, dimension, profoundness, depth to the whole thing. It makes you more credible. It makes you more believable. It will make the picture sharper. If you make the casting director laugh while you're auditioning, like genuinely and really laugh about what you did, that creates a great working atmosphere. Dig for the sense of humor. We tend to overlook that. We tend to structure everything and then we tend to forget what life is actually all about, to laugh about it. And now, tip number 5, the secret tip at the end of the video. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. So, here's the last tip to nail your next big upcoming audition. To have an outstanding performance inside of the room. To nail your next audition, you need to spot what's missing. Spot what's missing and fill in the gaps, filling the blanks. Add something on your own. Be courageous, because if there's one ingredient that sets you apart from your competitors, no matter where you are, it's your ambition. Good actors, they, play what's in the script. Great actors play what's in the script, and in addition to that, they add something new. They add what's missing. Because it is a risk sometimes, and sometimes you fail. But don't think outside of the box, because that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what that even means, outside of the box. Outside of the box, there's darkness. Think darkness? Are we a Hadron Collider or something? Don't think outside of the box because you don't know what's there. You can't think of something that you don't know what it is, but you can think at the edge of the box. That you can do. The edge of the framework, the angle, that delivers something new. That delivers another context to the plate, to the coloring in the middle. Take the angle, take a new perspective, and add that perspective to your character. And you will see it will broaden the horizon of the character, and the casting director will perceive it. That doesn't mean that you necessarily book the job all the time, but he will perceive that you are a smart actor. On the long run, that will turn out to be your advantage compared to everybody else who's just playing him safe and straight. Safe and straight is nice, but nice isn't good enough. It has to be astonishing, overwhelming. It's yours because you thought of something that wasn't there. It's hard to tell somebody just be tough, because the world shouldn't be like that. And I'm not acting here. I mean that seriously. The world should be a bit easier. Problems pretty much everywhere. So that's the reason you're picking up your lines, because there is so much pain. Because you have the privilege to play another life. Because you have the chance to escape all of this for a couple of seconds. And I know sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you have to get your stuff together. Sometimes you have to, push through it. It's like going to the gym. There are some days where you don't want to pick up some weights, where it doesn't make sense to you, where you just want to sit in a cafe and eat and drink coffee and, watch the other people go by and have one piece of cake after the other. But it's a privilege to pick up the lines. It's a privilege to be this other role, this other life, this other person. It's a privilege to be able to escape without taking drugs or lying or, playing games or anything like that. It's part of your job description to escape sometimes. So see it as a privilege. Nobody likes to talk about this, I get that. It's a bummer, it's a downer, it's not a nice thing to say. It's harsh. But that's life, that's reality. I don't want to lie to you guys. Sometimes it's painful. But pain is the train that leads you to the station of gain.